Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm working on the third week of Advent in the Illustrated Faith and DaySpring kit, the Grace and Gratitude Kit 2. This is not the one that's currently available over at DaySpring. This one is sold out. Kit 3 is the one that's currently available, so I will link that one down below. That is going to be for January. So I thought I would use some printables today from the Print and Pray shop. I will link the ones that I use. These ones are from last year actually, and I'm going to mix those in with the kit. I'm kind of running out of the stickers, which I do have the printable that you get from DaySpring when you order the kit from them. So I could reprint some of these images, but I want to change it up and have my entry look different than my past two entries. And so I'm going to pull in some printables. I have yet to dig into the confetti surprise, and so I wanted to show you a little trick with this also. And again, it's just going to be a very, very simple, clean, easy entry, and it's going to be very similar to my past two entries. Actually, I can see one kind of poking through here, right here. So if you missed those videos, I will link those videos down below. It's going to be kind of the same structure here. We are working in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 2, and this is for joy. And it says, keeping our eyes on Jesus, the source and perfecter of our faith. For the joy that lay before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. And so I will go through the devotional content. I'm going to use the questions that are here. That's usually what I respond to in the margin of this Bible. And I'm going to keep this one short, even though I kind of want to dig in super deep, because joy is actually my one little word for 2019. I've had some people ask, what is one little word? That's new to me. And I've done one little word the last 2 years. And it's where you just kind of have a focus word for the year, and the last 2 years I kind of picked it. I mean, it was themes that God was bringing to me, but I really kind of set out and said, okay, this is what I want my focus to be this year. For joy, that was one of those words that's kind of one of those common, simple, I felt like it's very popular one little word, and I always try to avoid those, but God has thrown this in my face over and over and over again the last few weeks. It's just been joy, 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 and so I know he's going to be working on me something fierce next year, just finding joy and where my joy comes from. And so this is going to be a little kickoff for that. We're going to keep it simple today, and I'll probably do a more in-depth joy entry at the start of the year. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward, and we'll get this page put together. Okay, so I'm going to start with sticking down some of these printable pieces. And like I said, I will link those down below. Those are from the Illustrated Faith site, not from DaySpring. That little paint swatch one is from last year as well. And I actually printed those like at 50%, so 2 pages on 1 page, because I had printed them last year for my smaller Bibles. So I probably could have gone full size, but I didn't want to reprint. I'm trying to use some of the printables that I had already printed out last year, so that's why it doesn't completely cover the verse, but I just wanted to add a little like pop of fun color down at the bottom there. So, and that verse is the very last verse on this page, and so I wanted to bring attention to it because it's not like it's right in the center of the page here. So I'm sticking the joy piece down since this is kind of my big focal piece, and then I can build my title around that. And I'm just really careful and go really slow when I'm adhering that down, because sticker paper can kind of have a mind of its own and like jump out and stick to the page when you're not ready for it. So, and then what I don't realize at this point is that I'm actually going to stick this Savior of the World sticker down crooked, which comes to play later on, but that's okay. So I'm just kind of eyeballing, trying to figure out what colors I want to use. These are those Maggie Home stickers that come in the kit. I will link those down below because you can purchase those separate from scrapbook.com. So I will link those down below if you want those. So I'm creating my title. It's going to say, wow, guys, I'm having a hard time with my words today. It's going to say, the Savior of the world is my joy. And as I sat down to do the voiceover for this video, I always try to like revisit my study. I try to look up commentary and that kind of thing. And I realized how little I know about joy and the difference between joy and happiness, if there is in fact a difference. So I'm not going to talk about that in this video today. I don't feel like I have done enough study to get on here and confidently talk to you about that. And maybe that's even one more reason why God is bringing joy to be my one little word, so I can spend the next year really earnestly studying and focusing to see what biblical joy is and what that means and what that looks like and how that plays out in our lives on a day-to-day basis. So I would encourage you to dig in, study, read commentary. Blue Letter Bible app has great commentary. Got Questions, I think it's gotquestions.org. I'll link that down below. It's a good resource for questions and answers and things of biblical nature. And so dig in and study. What seemed like a very simple word has turned into a giant study for me. So all that to say, we're not going to talk too much about joy. We're going to talk about how the page comes together. Sorry, guys. So real quick on screen there, what you saw me do was staple these little confetti pieces. Now, Jill, she's on the Dragon's Hold. I'm probably going to slaughter her last name. Anyways, Jill's on the Illustrated Faith team, and she was sharing these pages, I believe it was her, where it looked like she was stapling the confetti to her Bible page. And I'm not sure that she did that or if she did what I did here, but I wanted it to look like the confetti was stapled to the page without actually stapling it, because then you would have issues on the back side of the page. So I used my tiny attacher to staple the confetti before I stuck it down to the page with some liquid adhesive. And you're probably like, Lindsey, what was the point of that? There is no point. It just brings texture and interest to those confetti pieces. It does not function. I mean, you're still gluing it down with liquid glue. If you didn't care about the backside of the page, you could directly staple them down, because if you have any experience with felt is kind of weird to use liquid glue with. It like comes through and kind of can create a mess sometimes. But I just wanted the texture of those staples. There was no functionality behind them at all. And then in the top left-hand corner here, I'm creating the same little vignette that I had done on the last two entries. So I'm using that same little wreath stamp that I'm stamping out with that Creative Retreat ink. And then I go back in with a medium flesh colored brush marker to add a little berry detail. And then now I'm putting together this wording, and it'll say a season of joy. And I'm using this Hint of Pesto VersaMagic ink pad. I'm really loving these ink pads. They don't seem to bleed through. They have a lot of different colors, and this green kind of went with the green of the Devotional, since I'm wanting to kind of tie that in. So I'm going to kind of fuss with that, since that ink pad was a little bit juicy. Stamped it off, made sure that the impression was good, and then took it to the page. And then at the top here, I'm going to kind of flipping through and deciding what tab I want. I don't know why this was such a struggle. I think it's because I was working with that dark colored washi tape. I'm going to use the Buffalo Plaid washi tape. And so I'm trying to take into account the colors of the confetti and what that's going to look like at the top. I don't know. I was doing lots of fussing today. So I'll stick that tab down. I did cut it in half. That's something that I like to do. That way on the back side of this page, I can just adhere a different tab and not have that same print showing on the back side of the page, if that makes sense. And then I dug through the little Wordfetti pieces that come in the kit, and I picked out Worry-Free Joy, because in my mind, joy is being worry-free. It's even in the dark seasons, focusing on God and just having that sense of peace and knowledge that He has accomplished it all. He knows all. So I guess there is some feeling to it, and that's what I mean. Like, once you start getting into studying the word joy, there's just so much that goes into it. So, but at this initial stage, I'm just kind of going from my real quick overview that I did. And so I do some journaling, and I have since maybe changed my thoughts on that. So I don't know. It's going to be an evolving process over the next year, I'm sure. So at the top here, and there's this little blank space, I'm going to add some more of those little confetti pieces. At this point, I'm not really anticipating using these confettis on another page. So I'm wanting to use, as many as I can at this point. So here, when I go to draw out my journaling lines, is when I realize that Savior of the World sticker is crooked. And so to counteract that, I'm going to intentionally make my journaling lines a little crooked and wonky. And so then that way it's not so obvious. It all just kind of looks like it was intentionally wonky and not perfect. So I went ahead and added my journaling, and that is it for the entry today. Check out the description box for links to everything that I mentioned. Like I said, this kit is sold out, but I will have the new kit linked down below for you guys. Leave any questions or comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.